I've been asked about MERV ratings for filters in homes and commercial too. So what's MERV? I don't know. Minimum efficiency. Blah blah blah. It's a rating system, and it's done by ASHRAE. So the rating system is sensible. But what it's trying to tell you is how efficient a filter is about filtering out certain particles. Now obviously we got the El Cheapo brand here that you can kind of see through. That's a fiberglass filter. This is a cheapy paper filter. These have pretty low MERV ratings. There's no MERV rating on these. A lot of them don't have it. This is going to be low, 1 to 4. That one is maybe 3 or 5 or something. I'm not really getting too specific on what each MERV rating filter is, but they're rating it just for its ability to remove particles. And of course, the higher the MERV rating, and I think it goes up to 20, but most filters don't go above 13 to 16. The higher ones will remove smaller particles. All that means is the paper that's put in here, that's used in these things, has got smaller holes in it. Because the paper has to have holes in it for the air to get through. Well, and there's some static electricity that, and I'll deal with that in another video, but static electricity does attract particles too. So which of these should you use? Should you use none of them? Should you use a MERV 16 or something like that, real high efficiency thing? Well, that sounds like a great idea, but MERV is not what it's all about. A lot of what we have to deal with in the residential systems is pressure drop. These things create a pressure drop. They're put under return air and they're pulling air through there. Well, there's friction and air doesn't go through. If I pulled the thing out completely, it would flow more air. This one probably has the lowest restriction of anything because there ain't much there. It mostly filters out mice and small birds. But that isn't really not the issue when we're dealing with filters. Yes, we'd like to have nice clean air in our houses. I don't care what kind of filter you put in that house, you're still gonna have dust the house, guys. One manufacturer talked about how wonderful their air cleaner was, and it would filter out 99.9 or something of all the particles that came into the filter. Now that's true as far as it goes, but your house, it doesn't have dead air, but the air doesn't move that much. It's not rapidly moving through the structure. So when you open the door and some allergens come in and stuff, they're not immediately taken out by a filter. Most of those allergens will either land on something, a table or something like that, or they'll end up on the floor or something. They won't go into the filter itself. So I'm not saying you can't help, perhaps, if you have a breathing problem, you can't help the problem with these high MERV filters, but understand there's a trade-off for them, because the pressure drop across these things can be really high. And if the pressure drops really high, that reduces efficiency of heat, reduces efficiency of cooling, could even damage equipment. So don't use MERV for everything. Don't just, I gotta have this clean air in your house. Number one, you're not gonna get it. Number two, you could be having a negative effect on the heating and cooling equipment. Primarily, really what filters were originally for in air handlers was to protect the air handler, to try to keep as much dirt out of the fan and any air conditioning coils and so on as much as you can. they are not really effective filters for filtering all the air in your house. Now you go to a hospital, they've got systems that do that. They've got air washers and crap like that that you never could even consider using in your home. Their air is very clean. You're not going to get that in your home, especially with a 1-inch filter. The 1-inch filter is the cheapest of the bunch. It's the one that most people have, and there's limitations on how effective they can be without huge pressure drops. So when you're looking at filters, consider more things than just the MERV. I'm going to go into pressure drop across these filters. I already did one small video on it. I got a playlist on filters. But I'm going to go farther than that and test a few more. And we'll test some thicker filters. Ones that are not 1 inch, 2-inch maybe. We'll try doing some of those. But my test is not to determine how much crap they'll take out of the air. It's to determine how much pressure drop there is across them, which could be damaging to your equipment. Okay, that's the end of this one.